Before we go the part of introduction, we must know what is macroeconomy. Macroeconomy is a field of economic study based on aggregate economic activity that involve economic variables such as employment closure, inflation, and national income. Macroeconomy is also a behavioral and decision-making process for the entire economy. In addition, macroeconomy also focuses on economic correlation, and because of this, it is used by government and government agency to make economic and fiscal policy. Thailand is the second largest economy in South Asia, has recorded a contraction of 12.2% in the second quarter of 2020 and is the highest rate of decline in 22 years. Thailand is a country that depends on the export of industrial sector, which account for 60% of gross domestic product, and the service sector is the largest contributor to the Thai national economy. Thailand has dominated the second largest export economy in the world. The Thai baht is the national currency of Thailand, which is also used by several other countries such as Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia. The landing of international flight they have because had left the Thai government with no revenue in terms of tourism. In addition, Thai export of gold will also weak and reflect the global economic slowdown. Based on a report, the Tourism Board of Thailand stated the revenue for international tourists in 2021 had decreased to 618 billion baht compared to 1.9 trillion baht in 2019. September 2021, Thailand will losing COVID-19 restriction in Bangkok and 28 hires provide to relaunch the country's tricky economy. Dine-in at restaurant, shopping mall, barbershop as well as massage parlor public park will reopen. However, school, gym and fitness center as well as entertainment venue are still closed. With this facility, employer can face work again and job opportunities begin to open little by little. Thailand, there are several economic activities that affect the employer rate, namely tourism, hospitality, automobile and automotive manufacturing. Tourism is a major contributing factor to employer in Thailand, with a 32% contribution to the country's gross domestic product. Thailand is a popular country because of its speciality and cultural richness. Apart of that, the unique tuk-tuk vehicle in Thailand also attract tourists. A competitive and in-demand tourism sector open up more employer opportunity for the people and reduce the unemployment rate. Just in Thailand, whose resort depend almost entirely on the hotel industry such as Phuket, Bangkok and Pattaya. The area has attraction and caused the demand for the hotel industry to increase and require many employers for every hotel establishment. In addition, the people also had the opportunity to open the hotel industry because the profit earned are not low. Through this situation, it is clear that the hotel industry can affect the unemployment rate. Economic activity in the Thailand is the automotive industry. The automotive industry in Thailand is the largest industry in South Asia and the 12th largest in the world, and has proved that this industry greatly influenced the unemployment rate in Thailand. The automobile manufacturing industry alone requires up to 218,000 workers and 470,000 workers in car manufacturing. The manufacturing industry produces 9.8 million vehicles a year and a total of 871,600 vessels in the domestic business, and the rest will export internationally.
Thailand income have been plummeted since the outbreak of COVID-19 disease in 2019. More than 17% of the household were felt that their household income had been affected, as some of them lost their jobs due to the layoff. There are also some of them who lost their source of income because the source of income they earn from the tourism sector has been cut off due to the country's border. The pandemic caused the flow of tourism to stop, and there was a significant contraction in economic activity in Thailand. Thailand's GDP fell by 6.1% in 2020. That is the biggest contraction since the Asian financial crisis. The tourist sector, which accounts for about 1/5 of the GDP and 20% of employment, has been affected mainly by the layoff of tourist travel workers. Low-skilled workers and informal workers and also migrants have been severely affected. The wider area in Thailand, that is Bangkok, has also been severely affected. This has accounted for about 50% of Thailand's gross domestic product. Thailand has also closed their shopping malls, spas, massage and beauty clinic for at least 2 weeks at the beginning of the outbreak of this COVID-19 disease occurred to reduce the spread of the disease. The government has also set the rule that the work from home is mandatory for employees, and most of them are government employees. Thailand has also suffered the same severe impact as another country. Thailand is working to keep their economy growing by strategizing and ensuring that all the citizens comply with the new laws and regulation, as they have to adapt to the new norms.
But for the next part is the impact of COVID-19 on unemployment. Unemployment is defined as a condition in which a person is actively looking for a job but unable to find it. While being unable to find it, unemployment also known as the key measure of healthy economic growth. The COVID-19 pandemic has paralyzed the economic sector, causing most of them to shut down, which is as a result, there are a number of COVID-19 impacts on unemployment that might be studied further. So there are 3 points of the impacts. So as you can see here, the 3 impacts of the COVID-19 on unemployment. The first point is increase of an unemployment rate in Thailand. The high unemployment rate indicates that the economy is unable to provide enough job for those seeking for a job. Thailand unemployment rate is 2.25% in the third quarter of 2021 compared to the second quarter, which is 1.89% based on the National Economic and Social Development Council and ESDC report. This indicates that Thailand unemployment problem is becoming serious because of the unemployment rate is getting higher. The next point is the employee loses their job. COVID-19 has caused a lot of employees to lose their job, which resulting to unemployment. According to the Bank of Thailand Monetary Policy Committee (BOT), approximately 4.7 million workers will lose their job, leaving 1.2 million unemployed. This happened because during the pandemic, a lot of economic sectors were forced to be closed for an extended period of time due to the COVID-19, which caused the employee doesn't get to work in the meantime. So the last point is the decreasing of economic activity. Economic activities such as export of electronics, agriculture commodities, automobiles, and parts of processed food need to stop due to the pandemic. Due to the stop of the economic activities, it has led to the unemployment, which caused the employee to stop working. So, since the employee need to stop working, it has caused the economy in Thailand to getting lower, and the unemployment is getting higher. So, I guess that's all from me. I will pass to the next person, and thank you.
Today I'll be explaining and presenting about the impacts of COVID-19 on the inflation rate in country Thailand. First of all, as we know that during the COVID-19 pandemic there has been a lot of changes happening, especially in the field of macroeconomics. So, first of all, inflation refers to the general rise in prices measured against a standard level of purchasing power. It also brings a definition as decline in the purchasing power of a given currency over a period of time being. So there are 2 types of inflation, which is demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. For the impact of COVID-19 on the inflation rate in country Thailand, both of the involvement of the demand pull inflation and the cost push inflation is seen. So the first impact of the COVID-19 on the inflation rate in country Thailand is the tumble and decline in crude oil price slump. Thailand's inflation rate has led to fall of energy prices, which brought the biggest drop in 11 years and 2 months in Bangkok. The discount goods and prices, which can be seen under the government's initiative measures aimed at reducing the cost of living in Bangkok during the COVID-19 crisis. The second impact is the increase in Consumer Price Index (CPI) of a prolonged COVID-19 outbreak. In Bangkok, CPI index shows an unexpected to rise due to the subsidies, with oil prices now below earlier levels. As we can see that the government in Bangkok continued to provide subsidies along with the relief measures as the Southeast Asian country struggles with the pandemic as the biggest wave of infections.
Impact of COVID-19 to the economic activity, unemployment. Impact to tourist sector. This is because almost the entire tourism sector in Thailand had to be closed due to the increased daily number of cases against COVID-19. According to the press, almost 10% of business in the tourist sector in Thailand were closed and nearly 400,000 tourist workers lost their job. This affects employees in the tourist sector, especially tours, guides, and so on. The employment rate in Thailand continued to rise. Second, impact to the hospitality sector. When this COVID-19 contagion, the hospitality sector is also one of factors causing the spiral of epidemic more rapidly. The hotel sector also had to close, which causes many workers in the sector to lose their job and income. Last year, nearly 4.7 million workers in Thailand lost their job following the new wave. This unemployment includes staff in the hospitality sector. During the wave, nearly 3,000 hotels were closed around Phuket.
So we move on to the economic policy implementation in Thailand. Alright, in Thailand, they're using two different kind of policy, which is the first one is fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is a measure employed by government to stabilize the economy, especially for manipulating the levels and allocation of the tax and government expenditure. So, as we can see that fiscal policy, it has been used by the Thailand to make sure that the government economic in Thailand to start recovery. So, the government spending and tax which aim at reducing unemployment and controlling the inflation. In the event of unemployment, economic recession, the government will try to implement an expansionary fiscal policy by using the expansionary fiscal policy. Alright, and Thailand has used expansionary fiscal policy to overcome the inflation and unemployment gaps. So as we can see, fiscal policy has overcome the unemployment in the Thailand to make sure that the economy in Thailand can be recovered by the effect that pandemic Covid-19 that has made to the country. So to the next policy, which is the monetary policy. Alright, monetary policy is the policy of the central bank to controlling the supply of money or the interest rate to address the problem of unemployment or economic recession and the inflation that has been faced. Okay, there are three main things in the monetary policy, which is market operation, discount rate, and also the receive requirement. During the economic recession and unemployment, central bank will try to carry out an expanding monetary policy or lowering the cash reserve ratio, lowering bank discount rate, repurchasing government securities, and lowering the interest rate. Alright, and next, monetary policy also has support the fiscal policy and ensure sufficient liquidity in the system and must stay accommodative. So monetary policy will be support the fiscal policy to make sure that the Thailand can recover the economy in their country, and the central bank also will lower the statutory receive ratio to reduce unemployment and increase the output. Okay, as we can see is using the approach AE. The first one is the equilibrium, which is Y AE at point E0 and Y0 and AE0. So to make sure that the increasing of the economy growth, the increase of supply money will make an interest fall, borrowing cost to decrease, and investment will increase, and aggregate spending will shift upward from AE0 to AE1. And at Y0, there was an excess of upgrade spending of E0. Therefore, interest can be increased, output AB, as we can see, and increase the national income. So, the new equilibrium will reach at Y AE1 at point E1, and national income increase from Y0 to Y1 and open a new sector for works. So, therefore, the employment also will increase and unemployment will decrease, so that the economic recession can be overcome and the tourism sector will be growing. So, with these two different kind of policy, it will help the unemployment crisis that happened to the Thailand. So, that's all for me. Thank you.
Since the world was hit by the COVID-19 disease epidemic that spread at the end of 2019, all countries in the world are facing the same problem, which is the decline of the national economy. The authorities, namely the government, are trying to solve this problem well so that the well-being of the people will not affected. As the government faces an economic downturn situation and the people need flexibility action in government policy to rebuild the country economy, the Thai government has made plans. The government expanding and ensuring adequate distribution of vaccines is essential to achieve group immunity and epidemic and lay the foundation for a strong recovery. As the crisis subsides and the recover strength, Thailand needs to embark on a medium-term revenue mobilization strategy to rebuild fiscal buffer and ensure fiscal sustainability. Rebuilding the fiscal buffer and after a pandemic requires additional efforts in both revenue generation and spending priorities.